All right, everybody, here we go. The Slate. Thank you for finding us. Steve Buchanan, Matt LaMarca. I am Adam Kaufman. Of course, we're going to talk a lot of baseball. We'll get to some NFL, I'm sure, by the end of the hour. And boys, I mean, I know it is a generous slate. Virtually everybody's in action tonight across Major League Baseball. And by all means, people out there, whether you're watching on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you are, get your questions in. We can help you, whether it's with your sports betting needs or DFS lineup construction, whatever it is. Just get your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. Get it all out there for us. We're here for you, like I said, for the better part of an hour. But not necessarily the most interesting action tonight in terms of the guys that are available to you. I know, Bukes, you want to expand on that. But in terms of the playoff races, this is just nuts. I mean, we're down to the final few days, the last series, the last 3 games of the regular season for all of these teams. Almost every playoff spot is locked up. Obviously, in the National League, it's just a function of whether the Dodgers or Giants are going to take that NL West division or be the wild card team, but both know they're going to the postseason in some form. The American League, though, is just wacky. You got the Rays, of course, out of mind. I mean, they've already clinched the American League East, but then you've got the Yankees up 2 games in the top spot in the wild card, and then tied for second, if you will, for that second slot. It is the Red Sox, my beloved team. Bukes, in a matter of speaking, once your beloved team, but you're just so pro Mariners. It hurts right now. Those 2 teams are tied up. And of course, the Blue Jays are another game back behind them. So what is the outlook tonight? What are you expecting this weekend?
I mean, first and foremost, some props need to be given. Okay. Now they got eliminated from the American League West. All right. But
yes,
it took them until September 30th. Okay. Matt LaMarca a few weeks ago was like, they're done. They're done. This just happened yesterday, Matt. Okay.
I was right.
They were officially eliminated.
I was right. He says.
Okay. Yeah. You were right. I got it. But come on. Did you think it would take until September 30th to get to this point?
No, I did not. And
thank you.
Big credit to the Seattle Mariners, who somehow have been outscored by 48 runs this season and have a better record than the Toronto Blue Jays, who have outscored their opponents by 164 runs. I don't understand it. Baseball is not supposed to work that way. And yet here we are. Seattle is basically like Michael Myers. Every time you think you kill him, there's another Halloween movie coming out. Seattle Mariners, I think they get in now at this point. Why not?
Yes. Listen. Yeah. I am a Boston fan first, okay? But you cannot tell me that you don't want to see the Mariners in this thing. I would take them over Boston right now.
Why?
I really would.
What's so intriguing about Seattle? They have
you say that just as a baseball fan and Seattle's playing really well right now, whereas the Red Sox obviously aren't, or do you say it because you want to cash your tickets?
Seattle is the ticket is donezo. They needed to win the West, so that died.
So that was just the division. Okay, so
yeah, it was just a division. I should have actually, looking back on it now, obviously it's easy to say. I should have said just to make the playoffs, because then I would have been like, "Woo, here we are." But they had to win the division, so that ticket has been ripped up, put into the trash, put on fire. Seattle is just a fun team. They're legit a fun team. And LaMarca pointed it out. They have a run differential in the negative. It's negative 48. Nobody in either league is in the playoffs with a negative run differential. It's just not supposed to happen. But that's the thing with Seattle. They're not a great hitting team. They're not a great pitching team, but they get the timely hits and they get the pitching when they need it. But that's why they're here. Legitimately, that's why they're here. And that's why they're in the playoff hunt with a negative run differential of 48. They're a fun team. They're a young team. And I honestly, I want to see them in, because the Red Sox are going to go in. If they make it, they're not going far. I'm just going to tell you right now, they don't have the means or the offense or the pitching to go deep. Neither does Seattle, but it's going to be fun to watch it. I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's just crazy to think. And obviously, Jeff Passan's been writing all about it, all of these different, potential permutations of what could happen. We know Oakland is out, just eliminated. But in terms of like you could have these 4 teams or a 3-way tie going into the wild card, where you have a game 163 and then another team obviously waiting to play the winner of that game for the ultimately the wild card spot to then have the 1 game play in and go into the division series. Like this thing is just far from over. It's a total mess. You got the Yankees are home, the Mariners are home, the Blue Jays are home, the Red Sox are on the road, although they've got the Nationals, who are obviously one of the worst
best
teams
part
in the National League.
That all the teams that are chasing the Yankees right now, and I do think that the Yankees have pretty much solidified their spot.
Yeah,
they're 2 games up on Boston and Seattle. Their magic number is now 2 games, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct.
So they can get in probably with 1 win versus the Rays this weekend.
Right.
But the other 3 teams, they could all win out. I mean, Boston has Washington, Seattle has the Angels, and Toronto has Baltimore. Like 3 just bottom of the barrel MLB teams. I mean, don't tell that to the Red Sox, who just lost 2 of 3 to Baltimore. But
that's the thing, yeah. 107 losses this year for the Orioles and the Red Sox in basically must-win territory. You know what? We're just going to drop 2 out of 3 in Baltimore. No big deal. Let's just make this tougher on ourselves.
But yeah, it should be fun. And the 3-team tie for the second wild card spot would become bananas because you get it. Like, I don't know if you've seen how it worked, if you haven't, but basically there would be 2 games.
Yeah.
And Team A, if they win, they advance. Team B, if they lose, like whoever wins out of the first 2 matchups advances. Then they play Team 3 at. I don't get it. I still don't know how it works.
And I'll screw it up too, so I won't bother. Maybe we could, Eamon, our producer, could pull up the details and we could read a clear cut to you. But it is incredibly confusing. But it's like Team A gets to decide whether it's home or on the road. But if you're on the road, you play 2 games. If you're home, you play 1 game. It's a whole mess of a situation created by Major League Baseball for sure.
Here's what I know.
Yeah.
There is a legitimate scenario that Seattle would have to come to Boston to play the 1 game series. I would go to that game.
I was going to say, would you be there?
Regardless of the price, and I would go as a Seattle Mariner fan. I would be 100%
wearing a throwback Griffey jersey.
Yep, I would be dolled up in Seattle gear for that game against my home team. I want them in.
We got to get you a Kellenic jersey.
I was going to say, if he shaved his head, he might look like a tiny Jay Buhner. Send him out to right field. It'll be perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, so removing bias, and I get the bias of just like, look, just as a baseball fan, what would be more exciting? This Seattle team is legitimately exciting right now. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
How do you believe this is going to play out? When we fast forward to Sunday night, if in fact we don't have a tie and only 2 teams get in, are you both under the belief that the Yankees get there? LaMarca, I'll start with you. And then which of these other 3 are going to join them? And I'll just add a part 3. Has anyone done a wellness check on our guy, Gary and Thorne?
I spoke to Gary today. He was surprisingly not rational. I mean, he's always rational. He's a very rational man, but he was like, Toronto blew it with how bad they played in the first half of the year. He didn't, I was expecting daggers for Robbie Ray, Steve's boy, getting shelled last night by the Yankees, but no, Toronto is 100% the best team out of this group. I have no doubts in saying that. The run differential backs it up. Their pitching is pretty good. Their offense is one of the best in baseball, and they're the best team out of this group. But do they have enough time to make up the difference? I don't know. They probably need to win out, and even that might not be enough with the remaining schedules that these teams have. I do think, like I said, the Yankees are in. They're facing Tampa Bay, but Tampa has already locked up the top spot in the conference or the league. What do you call it in baseball? I still like conference.
The league.
Yeah, the league.
The league.
I like conference better. They have the top spot in the conference. They'll have home field throughout the NBA playoffs. So, we probably don't see some of the Tampa Bay regulars. I think they're pretty safely in. And then it just comes down to who knows, flip a coin. Again, I think Toronto's the best team, but anytime you think you have the Red Sox figured out, you don't. Seattle again just won't die. Maybe they sweep this weekend, and somehow they'll post a negative run differential and sweep. I'm still not sure how that's possible, but I wouldn't put it past them. And and Toronto will win all 3 games and still possibly come up short. It's going to be wild. That's all we can say. It probably won't be 2000 and whatever that year was with Evan Longoria hitting the wall scraping home run to send Tampa Bay to the playoffs, but it's going to be an interesting finish for sure. I mean, regardless of what happens tonight, we're going to have games that matter on Sunday.
I think it's worth noting too, and I talked about this briefly on Tuesday's show, and I'm not just saying this because it involves the Red Sox. I would say this for any team involved, that for the final series where the Red Sox need to win every game, they are playing in a National League ballpark. That is total BS. Like that is not that is, but truly though, like that's true. Like once upon a time when interleague play happened, it was in June and July, period. Like we have teams opening up in interleague play. We have teams closing in interleague play. Like, can you imagine the riot that would happen if, say, Chris Sale hurt himself running the bases in National League playing the Nationals this weekend?
It's just math, though. It has to happen, right? There are 15
I get that
teams,
but it doesn't have to happen. His point is,
conference.
It doesn't have to happen the final weekend of the season.
Exactly, because like I mentioned,
it does.
No, it does not. No, it doesn't.
Tell me how you can make 5 division teams all have divisional matchups the final week of the season?
We used to do this before. The National League was
when there
always
were
done in June and July.
Teams in the National League.
No. LaMarca, his point isn't everyone has to be like all the other teams have divisional matchups right now. Fine. His point isn't the Red Sox have to be playing, the Rays right now or someone in the division. They should be playing in their own league so that at least Eduardo Rodriguez is
15 American League teams. How do they all play each other the final week of the season?
They do it all season long.
No, they don't. There's an interleague series.
And they used to do them all in the span of 2 months. They used to always do it in the span of 2 months.
That was when the conferences were unequal, Steve.
Conferences. We're talking about conferences.
You want to go back? You want to put the Astros back in the National League? Then sure.
Yes, I do.
We can do that. We can have
we should do that.
Teams
we should do that because in the Mariners would be winning the AL West if that was the case. So thanks a lot to the Astros for coming over. You ruined it in 2021.
But I kind of want the Brewers back in the American League. Is that okay?
That's all right. But there just has
Brewers for the Nationals.
There has to be a different solution.
All right,
there has to be a different solution.
Well, here's a solution to the wild card thing that our producer Eamon has sent along. I don't want to ignore it. And he says, stop trying to make MLB conference happen, LaMarca. And while you're at it,
MLB conferences are so fetch.
So teams A, B, C, and D. It's like a toddler wrote this. Teams A, B, C, and D. Tied teams are ordered based on combined head-to-head winning percentages, like the Red Sox combined 2021 record against the Mariners and Blue Jays would be their figure if they were involved in a 3-team tiebreaker with these 2 squads. The team with the best combined head-to-head record gets to choose A, B, or C. The team with the next best head-to-head record chooses second, and so on. None of this makes sense.
Honestly, there is an advantage of being the last team. I think if you're team C, it's a win and you're in, right?
Yeah.
But the issue
you don't get 2 chances.
I'm pretty sure you have to play on the road.
Yeah.
You
you don't get a home
team A or B and you win the play-in game, you then get the elimination game, the one that really matters for the playoffs in your building. So I still think you would pick the one game scenario, but it's easier to win 1 game on the road than 2 games in a row, regardless of venue. But it's definitely interesting. So let's hope for it. Who doesn't like a little chaos,
Look,
right.
Let's have it. Let's have it to finish off the regular season, take us into early next week, and give us something else to talk about other than Brady against the Patriots. Let's
be a bloodbath.
let's dive into let's start DFS and just look at the slate tonight, and we can go over to the DK Sportsbook as well after. But since we're already like 20 minutes into the show, we may as well talk a little bit about why people could potentially be here. But I'm glad we broke down the playoff scenarios for our parents out there listening. The slate tonight, in terms of the pitchers, Bukes, you were the first one to kind of poo-poo the players who are available versus those who are resting. Who stands out to you? Who would you like to get in the lineup?
For pitchers tonight, is that what you want to do? Start with?
Please.
Yeah. There is so many overpriced guys on this slate that you look at the slate, you're like, why would I want to pay up for half of the guys that are listed as they are? Like Adbert Alzolay at 9,800 against the Cardinals. Like, are you kidding me? Like, not a chance. Sandy Alcantara has been great at home specifically, where he is here tonight, but a little shaky lately. I'm not sure I want to pay 5 figures for him tonight. Ranger Suarez is the guy that really stuck out to me. How good is this guy?
I love this guy.
This guy is awesome.
Comes out of the bullpen. He does the team laundry, drives the bus to and from the hotel. My man does it all.
Had a 9-inning shutout last time out against Pittsburgh too, 41 fantasy points. But, generally speaking, obviously, he averages 9.4. He's considerably better than that lately. He's much closer to that 20 range with regularity. You expect him to do that again tonight?
Well, he's averaging 9.4 because he was primarily using the bullpen. He really has been in the rotation. I think it was right at the end of July they put him into the rotation. Like, he's been absolutely stellar since he moved into the rotation. Now he faces the Marlins at Marlin Park, or the Lone Depot Park, some stupid advertising park, whatever. Go get a Lone Park, whatever the hell they call it. I don't care.
Unless, of course, you're a DraftKings sponsor, in which case we love you. And
I don't care. I don't care either. The stadium name is stupid. Okay. Like Darren Rovell, like he's somewhat affiliated with us. I don't care. That guy sucks. Anyways, Ranger Suarez, okay, going against the Marlins in Marlins Park. You like that? Thank you, LaMarca.
That's good.
It's just such a great spot for him. And then when everybody is overpriced, this guy is unbelievably underpriced at 8,800, especially with the way he's been pitching. Like, the algorithm just hasn't caught up to him at all, it feels like. So 8,800 is, on a normal night, starting to get a little expensive, not for the way this guy's been pitching. Not at all.
Yeah, Suarez has made 11 starts. He's thrown just about 59 innings as a starting pitcher. He's got a 1.69 ERA, averaging nearly a strikeout per inning. And we know that the Marlins have their issues against right-handed pitchers, second highest strikeout rate in the league in that split. And Suarez is not a right-handed pitcher. See, that's how little I am in on baseball right now. Once the Mets got eliminated, I just kind of mailed it in. But Suarez is a left-hander. Who cares? He's too good for this price tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are you fading? Well, go on.
I mean, everybody who's like in that 9K range and above, basically, with the exception of maybe McClanahan. I think everybody's just overpriced in that range. Like, Alcantara has been great. There's no doubt about that, but he's just really expensive for 10,200. Like, he barely strikes out a guy in inning. This is somebody who earlier in the season who was way under that mark of a K9 of under 9. Valdez is fine. He's okay, but again, this is somebody who's been a little inconsistent lately, so don't really want to be paying over 10K for him. So really, like, the pitching options for me start at Suarez and just kind of go down from there. Like Steven.
Well, let me ask Steve, are you worried that Lance Lynn has an abbreviated start? Is that the issue 100%. With him? Because you look at the matchup versus the Tigers and it's elite. The Vegas data is outstanding. They're minus 260 favorites. And he has tied for the lowest opponent implied team total on the slate with your boy Clayton Kershaw. So is it merely you think he gets pulled quick tonight?
100%. I mean, and if there's a team that is very cautious about their pitchers, it's the Chicago White Sox. Like, they've been putting guys on the IL all season long to kind of, manage that workload. Like, they've taken the NBA model and they're doing that over in MLB now because the load management, because they've been putting guys on the IL with these phantom shoulder injuries, elbow injuries, and they come back in about a week and a half or so. So I look at Lynn, who's doing his last basically start of the regular season, just got lit up the last time out against the Indians, got lit up a few starts ago against the Cubs. he's dealt with legitimate injuries this season. Like, to me, I look at Lynn and I go, no more than 5 innings max for him tonight. And that might even be pushing it, in my opinion. They just don't need to use him. They have nothing to play for.
LaMarca just mentioned Clayton Kershaw. And I'm not saying you're going to play him tonight. You're not, just based on obviously what things have looked like as they ramp him up for the playoffs. He's pitching well. It's just a function of obviously they're keeping the pitch count low. So he's not going out there and pitching more than 5 or so innings, sometimes not even that long. But how much longer is this ramp up going to continue? Because the playoffs, they're coming.
No, I mean, and it's a great point too, but I mean, you look at the game log here and the 3 starts he's made in September, he's hovering around like the 70 pitch range, hasn't gone more than 5 innings. Like, to me, I look at that and I go, okay, like, yes, they're being cautious with him, but it's not like they're too far off. Okay. But again, the Dodgers do have something to play for. They are trying to win the NL West. So this could be a scenario where he does have to go out a little bit longer than usual. I'm just not convinced that he's at a 10K price range right now, especially with the output that we've seen with him. The strikeouts have been a little erratic. He's been giving up some runs. He's not the elite pitcher that everybody says he is. Someone always says that on this show, might be me. Definitely not Matt LaMarca. He's got a Clayton Kershaw poster in his room, but
love that guy.
For somebody that hasn't gone more than 5 innings in 3 straight starts, if you're telling me to pay 5 figures for him, like, there's no chance for me.
All right, why don't we make the move over to some of the bats? Who are the guys in terms of the studs? We can get to value, but some of the higher price bats, who stands out to you? LaMarca, why don't you go first?
Well, I mean, the top offense today is probably the Blue Jays. They're implied for about 6.5 runs.
Yeah.
No other team is over even 5.7 or so. So they're, again, the Blue Jays are always in play. You kind of don't really need me to say, who might have some value tonight? The Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So, consider them. If you're looking for maybe a little bit of a sneakier team, somebody who might be flying a smidge under the radar.
Love to hear it.
How about the Minnesota Twins?
There we go.
How do we feel about them, Steve?
I think the Twins are in a great spot here tonight against the Kansas City Royals and John Nat, who used to be a Cardinal. Probably, John Heasley. The Nat starting for the Twins. He probably wishes he was still with the Cardinals at this point, because the Twins are going nowhere. But yeah, the Royals just have nothing going for them tonight. The Twins have actually been hitting quite well. Little too late at this point. But really not overly expensive from top to bottom here. The most expensive guy is Polanco, tied with Buxton at 4,700. Then it's all mid 3K, 4K range after that. So a really affordable stack. I really like the Indians tonight too, as well, going against what essentially is a bullpen game for the Rangers. Spencer Howard, since being traded over to the Rangers, has an ERA just south of 10 through 17 and a third innings. Spencer Howard has been an absolute disaster, one of the top pitching prospects for the Phillies at the time. Now he's an opener for the Rangers. So that tells you all you need to know about how the series, the season has gone for Spencer Howard. But the Indians should be right in that range, like the 5.5 run range. I'm surprised it was at 4.5 this morning. I'd actually expected 5.5. But the Rangers bullpen has been an absolute disaster. Spencer Howard himself has been an absolute disaster. So they should be able to get some runs here quickly. And I think the Indians might be another team that's going to fly under the radar there tonight.
Some of the value guys then?
Anybody who is on the left side of the plate for the St. Louis Cardinals. Okay. Going up against Alzolay is expected, or did that change? Is Alzolay not pitching now? Did that changed? It says Corey Abbott now. That would be news to me.
Maybe an opener situation.
Yeah. Actually, Alzolay still has the problem next to him. Okay, so I'm just going to go and say that it's still Alzolay. But basically, anybody from the left side of the plate going down against Alzolay, he has the worst numbers on this slate by a wide margins against lefties. Did you know, Matt LaMarca, his home run over per 9 inning, Alzolay has allowed to lefties is 3.1 on the season. That's bad.
It's not good.
He's got a FIP over 7 against them. Like, you can just go on and on and on. So Tommy Edman is an option. Lars Nootbaar, love the name. You're going to be in my lineup tonight. No Dylan Carlson, which is very upsetting because he was 3,100. He was one of my favorite value plays, but the Cardinals are just too good to play their good guys now because they win 19 in a row. So now they're just going to rest these guys. But those two guys absolutely get into my lineup, but Newbar especially batting fifth, 2,400.
Our man Robbie Noble's in the chat. We'll get your thoughts in a moment here, LaMarca, but just to sprinkle in a question as well. Says Giancarlo Stanton going to go deep tonight or nah?
I always say no because it's just the most likely outcome. But
yeah,
the guy's red hot. I love I heard an interview that they did before he hit that big home run against the Red Sox last week. And they were like, what were you thinking when you were standing in the on deck circle? And he was like, I'm thinking they better get the guy in front of me out. Giancarlo is feeling himself right now. So
yeah, he's an 0 for the last couple of games. He's 0 for 6, but before that, homers in 4 straight. Obviously, was tearing the ball cover off the ball against the Red Sox.
That's who he is. That's who he is in a nutshell. 0 for 6, and then he hits 3 straight bombs, and it's 0 for 19, 6 bombs. But that's who Stanton is. That's literally what he is.
Closing in on 100 RBI. He's already a 35 homer season. He's doing well. I mean, Yankees fans, LaMarca, you're geographically close to a lot of them. I'm sure you have plenty of friends that are Yankees fans. Like all we keep hearing about is like, this is when Giancarlo Stanton earned his pinstripes. This is when he became a Yankee. That's all I've been hearing from Yankees fans all throughout this year.
It's only taken like 6 years.
Hell, took you long enough.
Right. Exactly. Well, when did they trade for him? 2002? Like I can't remember.
Earning your pinstripes is a very real thing to Yankee fans. Some would say that Alex Rodriguez never earned them, So the fact that Giancarlo got them in
a World Series
is good for him.
He did.
Yeah. All right. So LaMarca, shifting back to you with some of the value tonight. Who do you like?
I think my favorite value play here is Willie Calhoun.
Okay.
The Texas Rangers, aka Willie Calhoun, aka the Boomstick, aka Boom Diggity, 2,300 batting leadoff.
That's good.
Positive side of his splits. It hasn't been a great year for Willie Calhoun. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but the guy used to be somebody who raked against right-handed pitching. So the fact that we can get him at leadoff at 2,300. Like I'm interested in that. I think that's a nice little value play.
I'm just watching.
I'm down with that.
And on behind us to see if Boom Diggity shows up on my whatever closed caption.
AKA Chicka Chicka Boom.
Yeah, there it is. The Boom Diggity. Willie Calhoun right after Boomstick. Take a screen grab of that. Show it to you. You can frame it. Put it on your fridge. Who are you going to fade tonight, Bukes? In terms of the offense.
I think honestly the whole Tampa New York game I think that's going to end up being a low scoring game. Shane McClanahan going up against Nestor Cortez, 2 really underrated pitchers, I would say, in both staffs. The over under that one I think as of this morning was at 8.5. So it did open at 9.5, so it shows you where the money went in that one. But I think both offenses, I know the Yankees need to win badly tonight, but both bullpens have been great. Both starting pitchers are great. So that's just a game I'm going to be avoiding altogether.
I think an interesting strategy you could take tonight is avoiding all the teams that quote unquote have something to play for. I think that the ownership from most people is going to be on the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Giants, because they feel safe. Right? They feel comfortable. We know that their players are going to play the game, but baseball is still a highly variant sport. So maybe roll the dice on somebody else. You never know. These offenses aren't just going to lay down and die. They're still playing baseball. These other teams,
Padres,
right?
The Padres have all month, but you're
the Padres
right, yes.
Notwithstanding, there's no guarantee that, like the Reds, right? The Reds are implied for about 5 runs tonight. They're probably going to play all their guys just because they have nothing to play for. It's roll the dice on that. So I think that the ownership will be pretty inflated on teams like the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. So my advice would be go the different direction.
All right, let's go to the DK Sportsbook. I think we've ventured into the world of DFS quite a bit as it relates to tonight's slate. And by all means, if anyone has any additional questions, meager other than about the sim that's coming up, because we want to give you some real life projections tonight. But I hope everyone is still making your lineups for the sims and enjoying that. Obviously, let's take a little look-see at what we have for a healthy slate of games tonight. Obviously, as is customary, you got your 9.5 favorites. Across the board, the highest over-under, you got some in the 9 range. Looks like we got a 9.5 between the Royals and Twins, 10 between the Blue Jays and Orioles, 9.5 Red Sox and Nationals. Is that 10 going to hit? We going to go over in that one, Bukes?
I hate that number for the Orioles and Blue Jays. For as good as the Blue Jays offense is, they're a horrible team at hitting the over. They actually have hit the over the third least amount in the league. Like, I think it's only been about 47% of the time this season. Steven Matz has pitched really well over about the last month and a half as well. Like, usually we're going against the lefties when the Orioles are taking the against the Orioles, because the Orioles are a decent team against lefties. But Steven Matz has been pretty damn good. So you factor all those in together, it's the only double-digit total on the slate tonight. I'd probably lean to the under on that one. I think the Blue Jays can put up some runs against Eshelman and that Orioles bullpen, but I'm not convinced the Orioles can do the rest. So I think under 10 runs would be the play in that one.
LaMarca?
I have no real lean on the total. Steven Matz is a absolute wild card. I know this from watching him from his many years with the Mets. He can come out and he can dominate, or he can come out and be an absolute gas can. Steve mentioned that the Orioles are pretty good against left-handers. So maybe they will score a bunch of runs tonight, but who knows? It's a wild card game, Steven Matz. I'm staying away from that puppy. Are
you, as a general rule, both of you, more, it's like common sense, right? Like you're more invested if you're to put a financial commitment down in the games that mean more, right? The games that have more on the line. You have these 4 games that we talked about that all involve these wild card hopeful teams in the American League. Obviously the situation in the National League where the Giants and Dodgers, neither one of them wants to wind up in the wild card spot, which is, it's just wild. They both won north of 100 games already. But are you in particular looking at the games that have more at stake versus games that just don't mean on anything right now? Or is that not as relevant to you, Bukes?
That is not relevant at all. I go to my local card shop all the time and I say, give me the box that has the 1-of-1 autograph in it. I'm trying to manifest it in my mind, just like these teams who need a win are trying to manifest it in their mind. But let me tell you something. It doesn't always happen. I put my money, because I am in the business to make money. I put my money where I think the money is going to be made. I don't care if they need a win. I don't care if they need a loss. I put my money where I go, you know what? After all my research, after all my blood, sweat, and tears of going through the numbers, that's where I'm going to make money tonight. That's where I put my money.
LaMarca, I have to believe you feel the same way.
I do think that those games are easier to handicap because you kind of are again, you're dealing with more certainty than you are in some of the other games. But I also think that those lines become a little bit inflated. Like everybody knows that the Blue Jays need to win tonight. Does that mean that you should take them at minus 380? Absolutely not. Everybody knows the Red Sox need a win tonight, but that doesn't mean that they're going to win. Like, I think the whole motivation aspect is one of the most tired, overused, just narratives out there. Like, every team should be trying every time they take the field. And I know that doesn't always happen.
Though. We know that.
But like, does that mean that just because the Red Sox need this game, that they're not going to make any errors or do anything stupid? No.
Not if you watch them in Baltimore.
Yeah, exactly. So I think trying to factor in motivation is an easy way to go broke.
I want to go back to the Church of Steve after that passionate sermon we just received. Where are you going to make your money then tonight, Bukes?
I mentioned it earlier. I like the Cleveland Indians a lot tonight. Their team total set at 4.5 runs. Yep, still there right now, minus 115. I think that's where I'm going to be laying my Do-Re-Mi tonight. I think that's one of the better plays on the board too, as well, because I have zero faith in Spencer Howard, and I certainly have zero faith in that Rangers bullpen. So 4.5 runs for the Indians over on that one. That's my bet tonight.
LaMarca, do you have a favorite bet available?
I do. I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies. I love this Rangers Suarez guy. I'm actually going to make it a same game parlay. Phillies money line, and then Suarez to sweep up the stands after the game. You can get that at plus 1,000. I like it a lot. If you want to get really frisky, add him to tape up a few ankles before the game as well. So no, like it really is. I love the versatility that this guy has given them. Whatever role they put him in, he's dominated. He's going up against a Mariners team. I'm looking at the correct stats this time. They're even worse against left-handers than they are against right-handers. Worst strikeout rate in the league. Third worst WRC plus. They have a good pitcher in their own right on the mound, but I really like Ranger Suarez here. Runs should be at a premium, which is why the total is 6.5. But give me the Phillies to come out on top.
What about props? Any player props, or even if you wanted to get crazy, series props that stand out to you beyond just what's happening tonight?
No, Kaufman.
Okay.
No.
Look, I don't know what you want to delve into specifically, and
let's talk some football.
Every sport's a little bit different with what appeals to you. I mean, you don't like to, just as a general rule, player props in baseball. You don't like it.
Let's talk about football.
You could tell me no.
I just said no. I said let's talk about football.
All right, fine. Yeah, he said he was going to be blunt. All right, let's go to football then. And
all right,
Thursday night's showcase is behind us. A lot more competitive than anyone expected that to be. Congrats to the Bengals on coming back and taking that game. Trevor Lawrence came oh so close to his first career NFL win. Now I believe has equaled the number of losses he had in high school and college combined just in his first
Correct.
4 NFL games. So that's pretty impressive. How about this weekend? On the main slate specifically, LaMarca, is there a game that you are most interested in betting on?
There's quite a few.
We got nothing but time. Go for it.
I missed, if you missed the Jets early in the week, unfortunately, I don't like them at the current number, but they were getting more than a touchdown at home against the Titans team without Julio Jones and AJ Brown this week. I don't know if you've seen the Titans receiving core after those 3 guys. It is not pretty. It's going to be a lot of Chester Rodgers, Nick Westbrook Akine, or however you pronounce his name. I think the Jets could legitimately pull out the upset this week. And listen, Steve, don't roll your eyes at me. I'm not some Jets homer like Kenny Ducey. This is a reasoned take. I would have preferred to get them at the 7.5 that you could have gotten at the beginning of the week, but I really do think they are on upset alert. New York Giants getting 7 against the Saints. The Saints offense has been brutal this year. They are 31st in yards per game. The Giants have lost their past 2 weeks by a combined 4 points. They're getting 7 here. I think that is too many. And my favorite pick of the week, the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, the winless Colts. They head to Miami. I don't know if you have seen Jacoby Brissett play quarterback this year. It is ugly. The man has like 90 attempts and 300 yards passing. It is gross. They were able to keep that game versus the Raiders close last week, but they had a defensive touchdown. They needed a score and a 2-point conversion in the waning seconds of the game. They blew a 14-0 lead. They got outgained by almost 200 yards. They deserved to lose last week by 3 touchdowns. And now they are favored at home. They do not deserve it. Indianapolis Colts, take the 2 points if you want, but they're going to win this game.
I was just looking back for a second at that Jets-Titans game, and obviously the news of Julio Jones and AJ Brown, like you mentioned, getting ruled out today. I decided to, because Bukes, I like to look at these things. I went over to look at some of the player props, the running back and wide receiver props for that game. And you look under reception yards, the only guy who's even listed is Corey Davis. The folks at the DK Sportsbook just went, I don't know. Like, I don't know who's going to do anything in this game. This is stupid.
Yeah.
So hates my picks, by the way, which makes me feel even better about them.
Oh my God. Like, out of everything on the board, like LaMarca picked like the 3 worst bets you could probably make on this slate.
The sharpest bets.
Please,
it's
better
amazing.
ones. Give them better ones.
They are the sharp bets this week, sir.
So I get why people might want to gravitate to the Jets at this point, but it's like, okay, Derrick Henry is probably going to legitimately run the ball 30 times in this game. That's enough for me to still like the Titans at -6. I probably actually like the Titans even more now that those 2 guys are out, because now you know that Derrick Henry is going to get the ball 30 times. The over-under on his rush attempts as of an hour ago was 25.5. 25.5 was the over-under on his rushing attempts.
It's gone up. It's gone up.
What is it now? 26?
26.5. You want to guess? Yep. You want to guess his over-under on yards? Just rushing?
It was 115 when I last looked.
118.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say about $125.
Yeah, no, it will surpass 120 without a doubt by probably tomorrow, if I had to guess. So I'm still interested in the Titans. And then LaMarca was saying like how bad the Titans receivers are. You know that the Giants are all banged up too, right? Like no Sterling Shepard.
There's
Evan
a
Ingram
difference between getting 7 and laying 7, Steve.
No, I get that. But I don't know, like the Giants are really banged up too. So like that's just a game I just want nothing to do with. Okay. Like I go down here and I go, the Packers at -6.5 against the Steelers. Like that's probably my favorite play of the week. Like the Steelers just have nothing, absolutely nothing that they have shown that would make me think that they can cover against the Packers. They have no offensive line. They don't have a quarterback. Like I know the Packers aren't going to give them much of a pass rush, but Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, he just looks awful under center right now when he drops back. So that's the play where I'm like, okay, I feel good about that. And then if you want to do a teaser, because that's all I do is teasers, you get that, and then you get that, you tease it, you're -120. Sorry, Kaufman, but Buccaneers are going to win. Packers are going to win. You get -120 on that.
Sorry,
that's where
Kaufman.
I'm at.
Like
I will say,
suddenly.
I will say Green Bay. Like you look at everything that has happened with Green Bay and with the Steelers this year, and you say, how do the Packers not win this game by more than a touchdown? Right? Aaron Rodgers, historically, the greatest home favorite quarterback from a betting perspective. He, like most quarterbacks, are elite when getting points. Rodgers is the opposite. He's pretty mediocre as an underdog, but he absolutely crushes as a home favorite. And yet, why is this line at 6.5 and not 7? It's almost like they are tempting you to take him, which 80% of the folks have done so far. 80% of the bets on the Packers. This just smells like a trap to me. I smell something funny with this spot. That's all I'm going to say.
It's just Rodgers.
So I felt the same way in week 2 about the Patriots and Jets when it was just sitting at 5.5. And I said, something stinks, but I'm gonna put my foot in the bear trap. And if it snaps me, it snaps me. And it wasn't even a question. I feel exactly the same way about this game here.
Is there, evidently the Bills, by the way, are playing like, Zach Wilson's BYU team or something, because the spread is 17 points against the Texans. 17 points.
Have you seen the Texans?
Yeah, I have. And they won a game. I mean, like,
against the Jaguars.
Even still, man, 17 points. Is that a number you're taking seriously, or is that just a stay away spot?
So since 2000, do you have this stat too, Malark? I feel like you do. Like since 2003, teams that have been, I think it's 15-point favorites or more, are like 40-3 against the spread in those type of scenarios. Like teams that are in this type of spread,
40-3.
It's something insane like that.
It's not that.
I'm pulling it up.
So teams getting more than 2 touchdowns. So between 14.5, and we've seen teams as 27-point underdogs back against those that undefeated Patriots team that look like the best team ever. Sure. I'm showing 40-40-2 against the spread. So 500 exactly.
Just talk so I can.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if I could.
To me, it's like one of those things where it's a stay away game. I will never in the NFL take a favorite that large. I just won't do it. You need to play essentially perfectly. Unless a team is starting a wide receiver at quarterback, like we saw last year with the Broncos against the Saints, there's just no reason to ever take a favorite this large.
I got it.
It's a stay away for me.
Since 2003, favorites of 16 or more points have gone 47-3 straight up. Sorry, straight up. 47-3 straight up.
Well, that's not surprising.
And then 23-25-2 against the spread. So I had it wrong. There you go.
Glad we got that. In our final few minutes, because Bukes, you acknowledged it and I made fun of it earlier, Bucs and Patriots. Obviously, it's not on the main slate, but Sunday night, it's certainly the game of the weekend. It is the most anticipated regular season game probably in Boston sports history. You've got Pats are obviously, 7-point dogs at home. Brady's coming in. Maybe he's under the weather. Maybe he's not. It was a little tough to tell when he was talking with the media yesterday. Everybody made a big deal out of it. Rob Gronkowski's doubtful, and yet a lot of people still think this guy is going to play because, again, he's Gronk and it's the Patriots coming back to Foxborough. From a betting standpoint, because I'm certain you both think the Bucs are going to win. I think most people with brains in their heads believe the Bucs are going to win this game. From a betting standpoint, though, LaMarca, what is your approach?
Again, I don't really like. I don't feel comfortable taking a 7-point road favorite here. I do expect the Bucs to roll here. They're coming off a defeat. Kaufman, we've talked many times about the Patriots. I just don't think this team is that good. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they were that good entering the year, and nothing that they have done during the season so far has changed my mind. I just want to take a few pot shots here at the genius that is Bill Belichick, the absolute genius.
Please.
The man who can't post a winning record without Tom Brady at quarterback. A little sub 500 winning percentage.
2008, they went 11-5.
Yeah, sure. What did that team do in 2010?
2010?
Yeah, weren't they like 18-1 or something like that?
Oh, that was 2007.
Anyway, they had a really good roster.
Isn't 18-1 pretty good?
It's not exactly. My thing is they're not
pretty good.
He can't win without Tom Brady. He can't. And this genius, the greatest coach in NFL history, not only did he let this guy walk out the door, he tried to boot him out the door years before, only for the owner to step in and say, Bill, chill out. We're keeping Tom Brady. I mean, come on. I don't know if it's ego, if it's pride. Like, what is it? Why? It certainly was nothing about his play. The guy is as good as he's ever been. Why is he not in New England still, Kaufman? Tell me with a straight face why he's not in New England anymore.
Yeah, there was plenty of ego involved. Look, this is a much longer than the 2-3 minutes we have left in this show conversation. But yeah, of course it was egos converging, and Brady, once he got beyond that 5th ring and obviously won 6 in New England, doing things certain ways, the insertion of Alex Guerrero, his personal trainer and business partner, Bill had lost control. Bill had lost control is what it boils down. Bill wanted the control back, seemingly at the expense even of performance on the field, which is sort of mind-boggling. I agree with you. And I wish Brady was a Patriot still too. I wouldn't have let him go either. Bukes.
Sorry, Pats fan.
That was short enough. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate
that. Buccaneers, my second favorite teaser piece of the week. That's my betting outlook for that. Get them down to -1. Easy peasy. Wrap up the show.
All right, time to go. Meager says, just stick around for like 10 minutes. Call a few plays on the sim. Wish I could, man, but I'll be with you in spirit. Just imagine what we would say, or play buy, stream, trash the home game, whatever it may be. The slate comes your way Monday through Friday, folks. Always join us right after the 4 o'clock sim, right around 5:15 Eastern time, taking you up until the top of the hour. And the next sim, of course, that always comes your way, unless, of course, there's Monday and Thursday night football. We got a big weekend of football ahead. Week 4 is underway. We appreciate Bukes, LaMarca being here as they always are on Fridays. Bukes multiple days a week. Big goings on the baseball diamond tonight and through the weekend. Look forward to talking about postseason baseball next week. Should be a lot of fun with these guys. I'm Adam Kaufman. You know these guys. Thanks to Eamon, Daniel, our producer and technical director, respectively. We'll catch you again soon. Have a great weekend.